Today I will talk about the 9Barista Espresso Maker, which promises 9 bars of pressure at 93 degrees Celsius temperature. At €350, it is more expensive than the Rock and most Flair models, on par with the Flair Pro 2. At first, I thought the 9Barista is simpler and easier to achieve consistency than the lever machines, but it actually took quite some time to dial in, which I will address later. Out of the box, the 9Barista looks like a sophisticated mocha pot, and it does share some similarities. In a mocha pot, you put ground coffee in the middle and water at the bottom. When heated up, the pressure drives hot water through the funnel to the top, passing through the ground and extracting the coffee. The 9Barista slices the mocha pot in halves and adds this crazy middle section for controlling the temperature and the pressure. You got a coil sketched in red, some fins sketched in yellow, and a pressure valve in the center. It also modifies the top section to have an upside-down 53mm portafilter, which fits perfectly the Comandante grinder. When sealed, it now has two bottom chambers. The lower one generates high pressure while the upper chamber boils at normal air pressure. When it reaches 9 bars of pressure, the hot water in the coil will also be at 100 degrees Celsius. Then it passes through the fin and drops to 93 degrees for the brew. The manufacturer says it works up to 3,000 meters above sea level. The 9Barista is quite heavy at 1,680 grams, which is about the weight of 8 aluminum mocha pots. The reason is that it's made of brass, with the silver parts being nickel-plated. So one small downside is it will oxidize, and 9Barista says this is perfectly normal. You add 120 grams of water each time and screw tight. Now the top chamber contains 40 grams of water for temperature consistency, and the other 80 grams in the bottom chamber for generating the pressure and the drink. The final shot is always about 36 grams. In the first 2 weeks of dialing in, I found most of my shots very acidic. I struggled with grind sizes, but wasn't having much improvement. Then I suspect the water temperature is too low that leads to under-extraction. It turns out the problem is the heat. Many reviews mention medium heat. I think this is a point worth elaborating. If you start with medium heat, the brew will take forever. So most people run two phases. First, use a high heat to bring it to a boil as quickly as possible, then use a medium heat for the extraction. This can be quite tricky and frustrating at the beginning since if the heat is too high, the brew will start too quickly before the coil reaches 100 degrees. Also, the shot will be too quick. Both mean under extraction, and you can't easily correct it with finer grind sizes because it is easier to get channeling, and in 9Barista's case, easier to trigger the safety valve before a proper brew. Eventually, the setup that works for me is to use high heat in the beginning but drop to medium once I hear some gentle humming and bubbling. It needs to continue bubbling for a minute before the brew starts. You need higher heat if it goes on for 4 to 5 minutes. At the start of the brew, the bubbling will suddenly get loud. This is due to pressurized water boiling hotter than 100 degrees, passing through the coil and effectively get cooled down by the loose boiling water in the upper chamber. For my preference, I use 18 grams of coffee and 9 clicks on the Comandante grinder, or 10 clicks for 20 grams. I also tried lower doses at 15 to 16 grams of coffee. It kind of worked, but was definitely trickier to get right. Once I sorted out the heat settings, the 9Barista works like a charm and has been pretty consistent. So yes, it brews proper espresso. It is smaller than the lever machines with a simpler workflow. There's no need for any preheating. But this does not mean that it is as simple as a capsule machine. There's still some trial and error, which I believe is part of the fun in making coffee with these gadgets. Thanks for watching.